All right, we've got war number 3 here. Sorry for the delay. We're up against PBT, and yeah, it's obviously been about a week, almost a week since this war, but yeah, so I've just got a few fights this war. I will have a crystal opening at the end of this video, just kind of spice the video up a little bit, but our first fight is Mysterio here. This is not a tough fight here. Really could do it with just about any attacker. But because it has Power Focus 1 and Power Alternator, the best matchup here is probably going to be Quake. You just don't have to worry about his Thorn's Reflection when he's throwing his SP1, which is obviously a pretty annoying mechanic to have to play around. So Lyser actually did the paths for this war. She did an amazing job. She gave me this fight with Quake, and I was like, ugh. I feel so in seasons past. I felt pretty good about my quaking, and actually up until this point, I felt pretty good. But it has been I just haven't done a lot of quaking in the last 2 months, and so anyway, she assigned me Quake. I did volunteer to Quake the Man Thing mini on 22. A much better Quaker than myself took that fight in the previous war, or maybe the first war of the season, with Quake, and because of the bugs and stuff, had some issues and nearly died. He survived, thankfully, but I didn't want to subject him to that fight again. And in seasons past, we have always used Quake for this Man Thing fight, and Quake has always been really solid there. I've taken it many times myself. So, yeah, anyway, I thought that Quake was probably the best option, so I volunteered myself. She assigned me with Quake, and she had me take this Mysterio, which, again, is definitely the best matchup in my opinion. And then it looks like I'm bringing Torch here also, but I can't remember exactly why. I don't think I end up using Torch this war. Maybe I think maybe I do a pre-fight. I really can't remember, but... and then we have Claire for a rematch against Venom on Path 8 in Section 2. Here's the thing about mistakes. If you can learn from them constructively, they're not a bad thing. They're not a bad thing. So learn from that fight. All right, now here I am going to duel Mysterio just because he's Mysterio, using a 2-star. Do a couple Quake cycles. I am going to skip ahead in here. You'll see that he drops a ton of health. That's because I skipped some frames there. But yeah, and then we're going to take off some masteries, and we're going to go full Quake, which means 9 out of 9 greater strength. And I believe I was fairly concerned about the Man Thing fight, just the damage. So I did put on half suicides with the bleed, and I also put on, I know that this is going to lower my health by 7%, but I did throw on 3 out of 3 glass cannon just to kind of help with the extra damage. And then I am max boosting here specifically for the Man Thing fight. I really was not worried about this Mysterio, but the Man Thing I was fairly worried about because I'm already down some health with glass cannon. I am running half suicides. I do have a point in coagulate, so that's going to help mitigate the bleed damage. But yeah, it's a parry heavy fight, or I'm sorry, parry only fight, so just a lot of black damage, and based on the previous time we had that matchup to the other person that took it, I was anticipating getting whacked a little bit. So anyway, I can't even contain my laughter about that, because you guys will see that I get whacked just a tad. All right. Mysterio, this fight is going well. You guys can kind of see, I don't know if you guys even notice this. If you're not playing Quake a lot, and if you're not like a Quake expert, you're probably not noticing it, maybe, but there are a lot of extra dashes, a lot of extra unnecessary dexes. I think that's kind of one of the most noticeable traits of somebody that's just either out of practice or not quite practiced enough or experienced enough with Quake to be at that expert level. So you see there an extra dex there. But ultimately it doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect much. Really doesn't affect anything. So all is good. Okay, here we go, Man Thing. And I did take off Dexterity here because if I accidentally dex him, I gain the Precision buff, and he can nullify on contact. He's probably running 5 out of 5 Mystic Dispersion, plus the node has Power Snack. So he can literally jump from 0 power to a bar and a half of power just by nullifying your Precision buff if you're running Dexterity. The safest way to take this fight, if you're using Quake, you have to do parry style, of course, but the safest way is just to take Dex off so you don't have to worry about accidentally dexing. And then it's really just about nailing your parries, which usually is not a big deal. But over the last 6 weeks, however long it's been since the parry dex bug disaster calamity, it has not been so easy going. So here we go, charging here. Just get back into the corner here. This is what I want to do. Nail the first parry. Boom. All right, missed that one. Boom. All right, so we're 2 for 3. I'm not going to do a scoreboard on this. All right, there we go. You guys can see I've lost about 3% of my health to block damage when I'm missing my parries, so that's 6% health. Plus the bleed damage, this may be a little bit less than 3%. There we go. Just parry timing is just off a little bit. Now I'm down to 60%. Not a big deal. But I know that this fight is going to take 3 minutes. And so I'm just looking at the scoreboard or the timer and I'm like, man, I've already lost 40% of my health and I'm only a minute in. I can't lose 40% of my health. Again, that would put me in a pretty bad situation. And then because of the node, he will get, I can't remember what the node's called because obviously, but once he gets to 50%, he would gain power, but since he can't gain power because his ability accuracy is reduced by concussion, he instead gains health. So we just gave him 25% additional health. And he is a beefy fella, so yeah, it just prolongs the fight. Ultimately not, mechanically not going to change the strategy here, but as long as I'm nailing my parries, and in particular, I don't take any more combos or mini combos, then I will be fine. That was my mistake. I can't blame that on a bug. That was obviously my mistake. I let off the heavy. I'm lucky that he only swiped at me twice, because he really could have done some serious damage if he full comboed me. But now we have another scary thing to worry about. I do have 32% of my health left. However, I've only got 12% left before I fall into assassin territory. And if this guy is running a single point in assassin when I'm under 18% health, he'll lower my ability accuracy. And that just opens the door to him getting around or shutting down my auto evade and being able to combo me. And obviously at this point, if I take probably 2 or 3 more hits, I'm gonna die. So here I'm like, all right, I'm thinking about maybe throwing my special here because I'm taking block damage and I just can't get under 18%. We got very lucky there that one more crit. If I took one more crit, then I would have fallen below 18% health and I could have ended up dying. So after that, so I've taken that fight, like I said, many times in the past. I have never had that issue before. The other Quaker in our battle group, or the other guy that we assigned that fight to in War 1, better Quaker than I am, and he had the exact same issue, nearly died. So we're done with Quake on that node. It's just not worth the risk. I think if the game works properly, I think that it's the best matchup still. I just think that it's the safest. Maybe not the safest. It's hard to say, man. Safety with Quake is really kind of a subjective perspective. But anyway, we're sending Omega Red from now on. And all right, so here I am going to throw back on dexterity, but that's it. We go back in. We've got Claire at R3. She is now awakened. You guys have seen me use her in the past, and I've taken a couple L's with her, and those would have been prevented had she had her awakened ability at that time. But now she does, so we are all set. I'm able to nullify all of his buffs just from my basic combos from my clairvoyance charges up here. And here's the timer for Divine Barrier. As long as I throw my specials to get my nullifications in during that timer, then all is good. And then he becomes immune to Nullify, Stagger, and Fate Seal for 10 seconds. So I'm just not going to throw my SP2. I'm going to be recycling my SP2s in this fight. All right, boom. Looking pretty good. And yeah, man, it's just a bummer that I just didn't pay more attention last war. I could have, used this matchup or even used Dr. Doom or, any Mystic that can nullify. All right, so boom. It's pretty dangerous. I probably should not have thrown my SP2 there because it pushed him right underneath 3 bars of power. But he did throw his SP2 right away. This is my only fight for Claire, so I don't really care that I took that block damage. And we are all set. Boom. That is the end of my war. It's always good to not die in a war. We ended up winning this war. Battle Group 3 had a pretty good war. We had 2 deaths, where you guys will see that here. I actually can't remember where they were. Oh gosh, we had a timeout with under 1,000 health. The defender had less than 1,000 total health. Man, very unfortunate. We ended up winning this war, like I said. We did not have the best war. We've been pretty sloppy this season, but anyway, that is it. Enjoyed this crystal opening video. We have the legendary crystal, and then we have a featured 6-star crystal. That is it. I'll see you in the next one.